Where are we going?
We are on the road to potentially find a new house that will also be on the road.
Yep, house on wheels.
We're the Bryles. A few months ago, we sold everything to travel full-time in a bus, pregnant, and with a toddler. It's been a journey like no other, and we're so happy you're here to share it with us. We want to inspire you to follow your dreams and take that crazy leap because we're so happy that we did. Last week, we detailed the process and emotions of selling our house and moving. And on today's episode, we're taking you along with us to pick out our new home on wheels, who we now lovingly call Big Booty Bay.
Is that it?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
It's what we call gentle cookieing.
We knew we needed space, so we knew we couldn't technically do van life, but we definitely were leaning more towards like van life vibes, if that makes sense, because we wanted to do more like off-grid adventuring rather than like RV park traveling, if that makes sense. Not that we have anything against that. That's just not so much our vibe right now.
Aleja and Blake circa 2015 when we got married, van lifers all the way.
Oh yeah.
We'd be in the white van with
I would have dreads.
the tiny little shower. We'd be in like Morocco or wherever. But we've accumulated a larger group here. We've got Everest, we've got one on the way, and 3 dogs. So
And a tractor.
stuffed into a little van, unfortunately, wasn't the scene anymore. But we still want that to kind of be
Our vibe.
our vibe. You'll see it in upcoming videos, like we put a bunch of solar on our rig. We find ways to deal with like water usage and everything.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna call this Big Van Life.
Van life for when you have rescued too many dogs. First, we went into the researching phase.
None of us have an RV or van life background.
Yeah.
So we were learning from square one, and like we're not even experienced now. Doing the research, it was kind of a fun challenge. Like you are trying to fit your life into this new thing and see how you can make it work. You have drivable, you have towable. The benefits to towable and a fifth wheel, which is kind of the largest size of like trailer that you can tow, it kind of goes into the bed of your truck. Those things are like luxury apartments on wheels. They're literally bigger than the first apartment that we lived in when we were first married.
They're massive, because both sides fully like collapse in, so you get like 4 times the amount of space.
They're huge. So now moving into drivable. It's a huge category. You could have, like I said, a van. You could have a Class C, which we kind of say they look like the U-Hauls. Or you could have a Class A, which is like a bus. Or you could have a schoolie.
A schoolie is literally like a school bus.
It's a school bus that's converted. Yeah. We would love to do something like that, but we just didn't have time, given everything.
Where are you? Where are you? Where's Evie? Basket Head is taking a nap now, so.
He's down. A huge plus to going with drivable is you're just more contained when it comes to like moving areas, picking up shop, and going to the next one.
Boom, click and go back this way. Boom, here, click and go that way. Boom, that way.
You're all kind of in one unit. If you have a car, you hitch one on the back and go. It's much more mobile, and that's why a large subset of people go with that.
And you can have a smaller car as well in different places. Having a truck as like our drive around car would be like a little bit much, whereas with the bus, we can just attach the car in neutral to the back of the bus and pull that with us wherever we're going. And then we have, the Jeep to drive around, and it doesn't add miles to the Jeep. That's a question we've gotten.
So we knew we wanted drivable, but that is a massive category in and of itself. And the criteria, we needed to be able to work with 3 dogs. That was a huge part of it. We didn't want to be like on top of each other and get exhausted and run away from this. And we also have Everest. So the criteria was a garage space, a room for us to sleep, and a loft for Everest to sleep.
Or some kind of a room.
Some kind of room or loft or bunk room or whatever. Those are the things that were most important to us in terms of space. And it turns out there are only 2 models that exist of these. There's like a Newmar Canyon Star and a Thor Outlaw, where you could have a garage space on the back. It's also a drivable RV. It's not a fifth wheel. Or you would have like a room for us and it had a loft for Everest. Our funnel of choosing, which made it easier, was super, super narrowed down into this one model. And now we were just on the hunt for it. And like, there's like an app called RV Trader, there's like Facebook Market, there's all these things. We didn't want to get a brand new one, you know, because we knew, or we thought maybe eventually we were gonna sell it, so it just like didn't make financial sense. We had our eyes out for it, and it so happened a month later, one popped up in the Ozarks, like a week after we finished watching that show, so we were terrified to go.
You owe me a job.
What?
Am I speaking Greek?
We left instantly because we knew, you know, it was such a good deal.
Yeah, we drove like 8 hours that
So
day.
Aleja, we just went up us, and Everest stayed with his grandparents because we didn't know for sure if we were gonna drive back with it.
Yeah, and my mom is the type of person that she's like, when are you going out of town?
So I can
Because I want to watch
Yeah.
Everest.
Yeah, so we drove up. I remember when we turned that corner at that gas station.
It was so pretty. It was in such good shape, and like we saw it, and we
Yeah.
both were like, like we kind of looked at each
got that
other.
feeling, and we were so glad that we waited.
It's just like this big old bus.
Yeah, there was Bay right there, and we got it from the sweetest couple too. The husband, he was retired, but he was getting double knee surgery, so they decided we're gonna settle down in Arizona without it. Okay, he had a big white beard and a wood shop.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember his name because I call him Santa. I think
was
it
in the
was
same.
Santa. We
So-
bought these pens that he like hand makes and hand paints. How he
Alan.
like makes
His name is Alan. There's no Saint Nick. in
Yes,
there.
yeah.
But
We love Santa. Check out his pens. He's super talented.
Sweet Alan had kind of given us a test drive into it, and you know, he drove it around, kind of showing us how to do it. And then we get to a parking lot, and he's like, "So, have you driven something like this before?" And meanwhile, he used to drive like massive cranes and stuff in his day.
And like semis.
And I'm like, I've like towed a boat and stuff. So no, was
So
my answer.
naive.
And then I just hop behind it. It's like a bus. It's not a car. It's got like this action to it. And I didn't crash it. So yeah, that was our little trip to the Ozarks. Obviously we were obsessed with it. We drove home with it. And that first night we were like, oh my gosh, like this is it. It was one of the most surreal.
We had to go buy like sheets and stuff.
Yeah, we had to
because
get like the immediate things in order to survive. And we drove it back to Dallas to just kind of park it while we're getting all that house stuff. That we
it was
took you
just
guys
such a good
around.
deal. We couldn't miss out, even though we hadn't even listed the house yet at the time. We got a temporary loan to be able to buy it, and then we knew we were going to pay that back once we sold the house. Was kind of logistically how we made that work. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to name the bus, so I was like, well, let's put out a poll on my Instagram stories. There were some really, really good ones. Like, you guys are so creative. Came across one, and it was Bay. Stacy Peterson on Instagram. She said Bay for Blake, Aleja, and Everest. And, you know, it's like a bus, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Like we were saying to start this video, is we are big van life, so we had to make add-ons and adjustments towards being kind of off the grid more. So that means solar power, what we do with our water and everything, which kind of allows for this lifestyle to happen. So that's gonna be in our next one, is what did we do? What are the changes we made to it to be able to, you know, match our dream or match the life that we saw on the road.
So stay tuned for that, and thanks so much for watching.